How's it going, good friends? Brian from Apex Detail.
Hey, and I'm Aaron from Xtreme Solutions.
Today we have a little bit of a treat for some of you that like the long format videos. I'm going to do that for you today. We have a car we're going to prep, and I'll show you the process from prep all the way up to when we get to protection and protection. I'll show you all of the steps, what's going through my head, and speaking of that, I'll have him picking my brain throughout the video.
I'm going to try to ask as many questions as possible, coming from like the layman's point of view, because contrary to popular belief, I don't know anything.
Oh, that's nonsense. Anyways, guys, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy. The first thing we would be doing to your car is removing the plate, any aftermarket wind deflectors or parts that are covering and masking painted areas. We need to clean them, we need to decontaminate the surface, we need to correct them and polish them. We need to protect them as well. So the first thing would be removing all those parts. That would be the very first thing we do. Then it comes over here. This is our outside wash bay. And we're going to start the rinse and the pre-wash. So the first thing we want to do is get as much grit that's laying on the car off as possible. We don't want that grit getting in between the wash media and your clear coat, because that's where your love marks and swirls come from that we are, noticing on your vehicle that you want to remove.
So, forgive me, but I hear, claying is a big deal. Are we doing any kind of claying, and what exactly is that?
That will be involved in the process, and ask as many questions as you need to, because communication between the customer and the person doing the service is it's paramount. So ask as many questions. I don't mind that. I actually, I really like that. I like to communicate and tell you guys what we're doing. That's why I have a YouTube channel. I'll put all the footage on there so you can see it in person after the package is finished. But claying is involved in the process. That's part of the decontamination process. Contaminants can bond to your clear coat. Clear coat is very porous. It's not protected, and it's a lot of contaminants can easily bond to the surface. And we'll use clay, which has 3 grades: a fine, a medium, and a real harsh. All of them will scratch, so I only use them when and where it's needed, because if you clay anywhere, you're going to have to follow up with a polish. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because it will abrade the surface of your car.
So then how do you determine when it's needed and when it's not needed?
I take a glove, or I put a sandwich bag over my hand, and I'll come up to your car. Normally it's going to be around the back here, or where a lot of stuff flies up from the wheels and tires. So normally in this area here, those are areas that are highly susceptible to that and need to be clayed. I feel a little bit here and there, but again, if you're doing this at home, you can put a sandwich bag over your hand, and then you won't scratch the surface while you're trying to feel for it. So that's the best way to take care of that. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is safely break down as much dirt as we can, lift the grit so we can rinse it free from the surface, so that way during the wash process, again, we're not adding more damage to the surface of the clear coat. So for us here, it's going to be a combination of Built Hammer, which is a dedicated traffic film remover. It's made just for the purpose of putting in your foam cannon and breaking down traffic film, which, if you're not familiar with what that is, we have a couple dry days, a week or two, and every car can and will leak something, from antifreeze to gasoline to transmission fluid, and when it rains, that all mixes into a soupy mess, and you're driving through it, and it splashes up onto the car, and it just builds up and builds up. It's one of the very few things that can actually bond to protection, like a good sealant or a coating. So this is made just to remove that. And if I'm having a car come in here that hasn't been taken care of in quite some time, or hasn't been detailed in years, I'm going to add about half ounce of Xtreme Solutions BioClean to that. Okay, it's like a turbo boost to the whole system.
Sure, and this is available online, or?
This is now available in the States and online here, and this is readily available online as well. And it's both very effective on their own, but together a nice little team, I found. We're always experimenting here, always finding the best combination of products and tools and methods to use on customers' cars to be efficient and safe. So,
all right, so right now we're not really even dealing with like soap, car soap.
we didn't even get to the shampoo.
Decontaminating.
We're not even decontaminating.
Oh.
Right now we're just freeing the dirt of grit and traffic film.
Okay.
It could be you could call it the beginning of the decontamination process, but we're not really into that yet.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll take a foam cannon, as long as you have a pressure washer, if you want to try this at home, 1800, 2000 psi or higher, you can operate one of these cannons and put a nice thick layer of shaving cream foam on the car. You'll let it sit and dwell for as long as you can, whatever environment you're in that day. Sometimes you can get away with about 6 minutes, sometimes 10. And if it starts to dry a little bit in some areas, don't worry. The water will reactivate all these products here, so you can rinse them free safely.
Great.
So what you want to do is we want to use these to emulsify, and I'll show you the grit that's on the car that we're after when we go out there. It'll lift it and make it free that you can rinse it from the surface. So we're not getting that caught between the meat. That's the most important thing. And then we're also helping to break down some traffic film on the side of the car. So what I'll do is, everybody's different. Everybody has a different combination formulas. So what we'll do is we'll add 2 ounces of the built hammer in here and a ½ ounce of the BioClean, and then fill the rest up here, this level here, with warm water. Why warm water? As you heat up water, it actually increases acidity in the water. Very slight, but it does help with the cleaning process. It helps break down some traffic film. So keeping it warm, and it also foams up nicely. All right, so we're going to walk around and I'll show you exactly what we're after. Some of it visible, some of it not. A lot of times the traffic film will not be visible. You can normally see that when it's wet. Some of it will be when you get to that prolific line where the wheel and the tire spray stuff up, where the traffic film lays, it'll be sheeting. And also, with this combination I just showed you, we're also after some waxes or sealants that could still be on there. Some of those products, especially teaming up the Xtreme Solutions with built hammer, can start to break those down and make that, because we have to remove that before we do anything as well. That's a part of the process. So if we want to walk around the car here, I'll show you exactly what we're after. Stuff like this is very gritty. I'm not going to touch it, because if you even touch it or run your finger across it, that's going to dig into the clear coat and scratch it. So that's what we don't want, this to get caught in between the wash media and the clear coat. Right there's a little bit of bird doo-doo. We want to let it soften that up, emulsify it, lift it, so we can rinse that free, and we'll definitely be able to rinse that free once we have it broken down. And as we come down the side of the car, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but a lot of the contaminants will be in this area right here. Grittiness, dirt, traffic film, old wax and sealants. Here we have some more bird doo-doo we're going to be going after. We're going to hit the wheels with that stuff as well, because guys, brake dust is one of the most abrasive materials that can come in contact with your car. Not only the surface of the wheel, which is cleared, but the clear coat of your car. So we want to hit that as well and rinse as much of that free before we start to agitate. This formula also helps to break down if it's in the summertime. We're fall here, so bug splatter. Anything stuck to the car, it's going to help break that down, so we can rinse that free as well. as you can see, you know, in a lot of videos and pictures, you'll see this real thick, light, you know, shaving cream foam that you think it would blow off in the lightest breeze. I don't like it. I actually like when my foam is a little bit runny like this, because it actually, it's more voluminous and helps penetrate the traffic film that's on the side of the car. Helps to break down the grit so I can rinse it free. So I like it exactly like this.
And this basically is going to be zero agitation, correct? Like you're not, this is just a soak. You said a couple of minutes, 6 minutes or so.
As long as you possibly can. An average of about 6 minutes on a day like this with full sunlight and a light breeze. Don't touch it. No agitation whatsoever. Just let it do its work and then rinse it free. And you'll notice I'm not going after the cloth top. There's cloth tops and vinyl tops. I hit that separately with a different type of chemical.
Okay. And you were saying, I can see how it's already.
Yeah,
it's already breaking it down.
Yep, and
it's really
on
neat.
the side of the car, you'll see it run down with the foam, and that's before we even start to rinse it.
Yeah.
With the power of the pressure washer, and with a pressure washer, you always want to stay about 2 feet away from the clear coat and be on an angle. Never hit the clear coat straight on with the pressure washer.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
It's easy on the clear coat. Yeah. So by the time I get this nozzle in, it'll be just about time. Again, if it does start to dry in some areas, don't worry about that. The water will reactivate it where you can rinse it free. About 5-6 minutes, and with the sunlight, it's time to rinse now. It's starting to dry. So we'll just go around and we switch nozzles. This is a 45 degree, and we'll hit it. Not the problem. Bug splatter is just flying right off of there. It's softening it up enough where we can remove it from the car without even touching it. If you ever have bird excrement or bug splatter, just don't take a microfiber and start scrubbing at it. Spray a detailer or even water if you have to and soften that up, and then you can either rinse it free or carefully dab it off. One little trick is I'll put a microfiber down on those areas, and I'll put spring water and pour it on top of the microfiber. It gets it wet, and it will draw up a lot of the bird crap or the bug splatter, and then you can flip it over, hit it with a quick detailer for lubrication, and help remove it a little bit more safely. It's not fail-safe. You always have, when you're rubbing your car in any way possible, there's always going to be a chance where you can mar the car lightly and give it what I call love marks.
I know this goes without saying, but for the majority of your subscribers, but I noticed that you're always working from top to bottom.
Yes.
Right? You're always trying to bring it.
Bottom of the car is always the dirtiest, and you want to bring that dirt from the top to the bottom. That goes from rinsing to the wash process. You want the bottom of the car to be in contact with your mitt last, because it's always picking up all types of dirt from the roadway. You don't want that to get into your mitt.
Okay.
Hitting the wheels along with everything else will help, you know, break some of that take on brake dust, and that it does just enough. a lot of that very abrasive brake dust off of there. Now we can agitate the wheel and not have, you know, a lot of marring going on. So, if this was a hard top, I would then go straight to the wheels. I always do the wheels first, but we have a soft top here. I like to take care of that. So we'll blow some of the loose stuff off, and if you're using a pressure washer, be careful with the material. Vinyl, cloth top, you don't want to, you know, start fraying the cloth top with the pressure of a pressure washer, so keep it back far enough. You know, you blow the stuff off of there, but not fray the material. Stay away from the seams. I always stay away from the seams as well if I can. We want to blow stuff off like this here. Okay, when it comes to convertible tops, of course you have all types of different materials, but vinyl and cloth are common. If it would be a vinyl top, I would use something different. And they have designated cleaners for both vinyl and cloth tops. But you don't need to. We already have this out. We already put some of this in a traffic film remover. I'm going to dilute this 10 to 1. You can go 10 to 1, 20 to 1, depending on how long it's been since you cleaned your top. And again, fill the rest with warm water, and we're just going to spray that, agitate with a detailing brush. Soft bristles.
Soft bristles.
We want to stay, you don't know how old the top is, you don't know how brittle the stitching is. We don't want to fray the stitching or the material. So, and we don't want to use a cleaner that is really overly aggressive. This is perfect, a cleaner for something like that, especially diluted.
Okay.
So either a bottle like this or a 32-ounce spray bottle, you just need to fill, well, this is a little bit more than a quarter of the way up from the bottom, and the rest water. That's all you need. So when it comes to tops, it doesn't matter the age of the top. I want to be careful around the seams, around the stitching. So I'll use a detailing brush like this in those areas, and I'll just agitate very lightly.
And you said that's kind of a pretty soft bristle.
Yeah, it's not a wheel brush. It would be the type of bristle you would use for interior detailing.
Okay.
I would bring that out and agitate here, right here where the seams come together. Just let those soft bristles get in there and agitate any dirt. Agitate the dirt without fraying the stitching. That's really what we're working on. And I'll do all the seams and the edges like that first. Around the window.
And any, I mean, not to be too layman, but any particular reason why you do the seams and the stitching first? Does it need more work than normal?
It's a little bit more tedious, it takes more time. If I need to rinse it, I will. But then when I get to these areas in between that are flat and bigger, then I'll grab a big brush.
And we just go.
Yeah, like a nice soft, like if you have finished wheels, real high-class wheels, and you have a nice soft brush for that wheel dedicated, I'll grab that brush and finish up then.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right, so I have all the seams done, and I'll just put that brush down. I'll grab this nice soft brush here. Bristles give way, they're not really stiff, and we can work on the larger areas. And those will get done rather quickly, as you can see.
Yeah, it foams up real nice.
Yeah, this cleaner cut 20 to 1, 10 to 1. It's nice and gentle, but gets the job done. It has the perfect balance, if you ask me.
Yeah, not for nothing. It's probably, out of all the scents that we have, the fragrances that we use, I would say that's my #2 favorite scent that we have. First one being Leather Magic. I love the way that smells, but obviously you can't.
I wish I could agree, but my sense of smell has disappeared with all these working around all these chemicals for this many years. I've lost that sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the same. That's what a lot of, like, one of the first things that you see a detailer do is they'll crack a bottle and they'll smell it, and then they'll stick their finger in it, and then they'll rub it together.
I would recommend not doing that, or you'll end up like me, because I can't smell a damn thing. But it could be COVID, too.
It could be what?
COVID. So this is basically what it'll look like after agitation, and you just carefully rinse from there. we're to the wheels, and it all depends how bad the wheels are. We don't really get trashed wheels here much anymore. You know, baked on brake dust. It's normally already coated or well taken care of wheels. So we like to use the Xtreme Solutions BR211. And something very important that I like to relay to anyone watching is this: you don't want to use this straight up. It's not meant to be used straight up, right out of the bottle, sprayed onto the wheel and left there for any amount of time. You definitely want to dilute, and dilution ratios are going to depend on what type of wheel, the contaminants on the wheel. I'll use it 20 to 1, 10 to 1, 5 to 1, and 3 to 1. And that type of wheel out there, which you saw me rinsing, just the barrel of the wheel was worse, so a 5 to 1, 10 to 1 would actually work perfectly well. Again, do not use this full strength.
So basically, the idea behind the BR211 and the reason why the concentrated formula is what this is. Xtreme Solutions, when it founded in 2002, was primarily a B2B company. We dealt with retail, or not retail, car rental agencies and dealerships and auction cars, and a lot of the used car shops and things of that nature, and the condition is really tough, and sometimes when you get that really baked on brake dust, you needed something to really cut through it.
Yeah, these are cars that are being traded in, and they're mommy mobiles with the caravans,
and they haven't they haven't been detailed or touched since it was originally bought 10 years ago. So the idea was we needed something strong enough, but then as we became friends and our internet presence grew and our e-commerce site grew, we became much more of a B2C, a business to customer. And so although the strength is still there, it is important, like you said, to really know what you're dealing with and what you're working with. And this is an extremely strong product that should definitely be diluted.
Yeah, and dwell time. Wait till you're at that wheel, you're seated, and you have all of your tools ready, and then spray that on there and get to work and agitate a little bit. Don't spray it on there, walk away, and hit your other 4 wheels. Just work on that one wheel, get it on there, agitate, and rinse. Best way to do it. So this is what I like to use to get the products foamed up in the. I use it for the inner fender well too. So I'll spray it there. Sometimes I'll hit the tire and the wheel, the calipers, the barrel of the wheel. So I'm just going to get it mixed up here, and then we'll head right. All right, so not too many of my viewers have seen the setup for wheels. It's very unlike my wash process, the contact wash process when it comes to paint. I only use one bucket with multiple mitts. It's kind of flipped around when it comes to wheels because I like to use multiple buckets for that. I will have just a bucket with all of my tools in there, and then I'll have a bucket with clean water, and I'm about to add some of the same wheel cleaner that we put in our foamer there, and then I'll dip the brushes into that before going back to the wheel. You'll see that. So that's a multiple bucket wheel system, very unlike the contact wash system that I use. I just thought I would share that with you. Like that'll be, we'll use that, we'll use this, and
the curved one as well.
Yeah, this is what I use. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the product on there, up into the fender well as far as I can get it, into the barrel of the wheel, onto the face of the wheel, and even the tire. Product up into the fender wells. I'll hit the wheels, get it in as far into the barrels and even the calipers. And with the BR211, even better yet than just having it in a spray bottle, you could have it in a foamer, so it'll kind of disperse the product even more. And then you don't have it in a concentrated area, because again, it is a radical product. It's pretty strong. So. Now, while I have that going, I'm going to stay at one wheel. I'm not going to move around the vehicle. I'm going to use my tire and rubber cleaner, and for me, I've used many, and the Adams tire and rubber cleaner gets that tire to a nice new look. It really gets into the pores. I don't know what's in it. I can't explain how it works, but out of all the ones I tried, no matter what shape the wheel is, if it has old tire shine or dressing on it, it breaks it down, it gets deep into the pores, and it gets it ready for the next step. Again, I'm never tied down to one product system. I believe as a detailer doing this, you can't be successful just being tied down to one system, one product line. And I just believe this works. If you see something in my videos, guys, when I'm working on a car, it works, because I would not use it if it doesn't. That includes Xtreme Solutions and any other product that you see. So I'll just grab this guy right here, or sometimes I like to grab this pulley here. Whatever you can use to get up into the wheel well. It's been there long enough, it's been agitating long enough. It's time to work it and get it rinsed off.
You didn't leave it on there very long at all.
Not at all. I'm not going to leave it on there for as long as I can spray it on and get my hands in the bucket and grab my tools. That's it.
I would think that, that method, if it doesn't come off the first time, instead of leaving it on longer, you just rinse it off and then do it again, correct?
Exactly. I'm going to do it as many times as it takes. I'm not going to let it sit on there and dwell. If you're in the sunlight, it's going to start a chemical reaction, and stay in the shade if you can, but work the wheel, rinse it. If you need to do it again, go ahead. And you can see the nasty brake dust that's pulling out of that wheel just from no effort at all, very little effort. Okay, we're now getting into the wash process where we can do the contact wash. And a lot of my subscribers know how I like to do it. There's no right or wrong answer. If you do the 2-bucket, 5-bucket method with grit guards, that's perfectly fine. However you want to get it done. I like 1 bucket, and you won't even see a grit guard in here. And this is actually a wash solution that's probably, I did 12 washes with it because I have 5 mitts in here. And these mitts, once they touch the car, will never go back in this bucket. I'll just put the lid to the side. They'll be laying on the lid here. When I'm done with the wash process, I will wash them and tumble dry, warm, and they'll be ready to go. And I can keep using this until it gets too low where I have to replenish it. And it's about time, because even that's getting cloudy. But what I like to use is Xtreme Solutions, Xtreme Suds, and this is straight up cleaning power, no frills. It actually has probably 2 more frills than I would need, because I don't need a color. It has a nice purple color, and it also has a scent, a grape scent. Now, I can't tell that because I can't smell anything, but those are 2 frills that I wouldn't even need. Car Pro Reset is another option here, just depending what's close to me. That one is clear with no scent, or if it does, I don't pick it up. But this one here is a great option. And 2 to 3 ounces in your contact wash bucket will give you the lubrication and the suds you're looking for. You'll be completely satisfied. It does a great job at cleaning as well. Anything you want to add on your...
Well, I think you did a fantastic job of describing it. I am really, really intrigued at this process. I've never seen this before, and I want to see what's happening.
Yeah, the subscribers, regular subscribers, they know I like to do this and exactly why. Even though we have the pre-wash done and we started the decon with some of the chemicals we used, there's still a chance. I mean, just sitting outside, the car is already gaining dust, particles. And in order to keep them from getting into my wash solution, I will use 1 mitt for the top of the car, 1 for the driver's side, 1 for the passenger side, 1 for the front, 1 for the back, and they'll each, as we're going from top to bottom, will pick up different types of contaminants off the car. I don't want those going back in the bucket. I don't want to go back in the bucket and use the grit guard and do that work, because I don't care what type of grip guard is available these days. You're always going to have some that kind of work its way up into the solution above the grit guard. This way here, you'll never introduce any type of grit or contaminant back into the bucket. At the end of the day, when these are piled up, this type of microfiber releases dirt and grit and particles real easy. You just throw it up against the wall and hit it with your pressure washer, then throw it in your dryer if you want to, and then tumble dry, and they'll be fluffy, soft, and completely clean.
Just one last thing that you were talking about, as far as 2 frills more than what you would normally need or want in a soap. Like, is there a benefit or not benefit? I mean, we get a lot of YouTube comments about how great that smells and so on and so forth, but it's a pleasantry. It's not really necessary. But does it have any kind of side effects or
Well, 2 things that it could, and I'm not saying that it does this or does that, but there are 2 things that could happen. The chemicals that they add to add the scent, is that doing it? I don't want it to do anything to act like a film when I'm done washing the car, or any type of residue.
Sure.
Now, I don't know what they add to give it that scent, but does that chemical then turn into a film or a residue?
It's a little vial of flavors.
Right. Okay. So it could dissipate. I don't want it. I don't need.
Yeah, it's like 2 drops per like 55-gallon drums or something. It's nuts. Okay. It's very.
So
little.
It's minimal.
Yeah, it really is. And you can see here, that obviously it doesn't look purple to me. So that color dissipates
as
very quickly.
That's another thing with some of the snow foams and soaps. If you're working on a high-end car that has the white interior, even though it may neutralize the color and turn clear, I don't need to take the chances something drips through the window seals or cracks and drips down onto the seat, and then when it dries, is there going to be an outline there?
Sure.
I don't need to take the chance.
That's great feedback. And I mean, I go back to our guy and be like, hey, what do you think about just straight up, clear, no scent?
Yeah, I know it could be a marketing thing. The scent and the color is, to me, a marketing thing.
Well, I guess that I would ask the YouTube family to comment on that. Do you prefer the scent? Do you not prefer the scent? Do you prefer the color, not the color? Let's hear that feedback. Having
them both there or not there, does that change your wash routine in any way? That's a great question. Okay, so let me get this set up and we'll go outside again.
All right.
It's a suds. It's not like it has a couple different layers. It has the small bubbles, it has the larger bubbles, and they'll hang around if you have hard water, soft water. We have hard water here. This area is terrible. We have a couple good inches of topsoil. Everything under that just makes we have shale, and then east of us is clay. Gives us the hardest water you can imagine, and it kills suds. Now, suds, not important to the cleaning process to me. I don't care if there's no suds. What I want is lubrication and cleaning power, and this has it. But since it has the suds to go along with it, there's...
again, I'm going to keep asking you questions because this intrigues me. How often when do you switch to the next, I'm sure you're going to talk about it, but when do you switch to the next microfiber mitt? I mean, how like 1 panel per mitt, or what do you do?
Okay, so if this was a hard top right here, and even if it is, that doesn't matter. I'm going to keep my mitt away from the soft tops because they'll grab onto some of those fibers, and then you have to clean it again. So I'm going to take the very first one, and I'm going to do the hood, the windshield, the roof, the back window, and the trunk, and that's going to be the first mitt. And I want to add with this shampoo, I could do the hood and the windshield and to the roof and go back and forth, and you can feel there's tons of lubrication. There's no grabbing or tackiness of the mitt that it's, you know, all the lubrication's going, and it's just mitt against handle. That soap has a ton of lubrication, and that is the first and foremost thing that I'm looking for. And then after that, it's cleaning power. So with straight lines, I'm just going back and forth, and we're going to work from top to bottom. And now I can flip my first flip of the towel, getting this area here. And if it had the hard top, I would go right up over top. Mirrors and windows are included with this mitt.
Okay.
I'm leaving that area right there. I do have some of the hand glove mitts or whatever you want to call them, but a lot of the times you're going to see me using these. These do a great job in holding the shampoo and all the surfactants within. Some of these can hold up to a gallon.
So that's like a giant microfiber sponge.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's one in here like this guy here. I could squeeze this and we get the whole car done with something like that. So I'll do the top of the car, roof, if that had a hard top. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to grab this guy right here, and I'll do the driver's side. From top to bottom, straight lines.
And why straight line? I mean, again, layman. Why straight line?
Absolutely. Just there's always, I'm touching the car, so there's always going to be a chance that I'm marring it somewhere, even if it's very light love marks. And if that happens, and it happens in a straight line, they're easier to correct and to remove.
Okay.
If they're in circular motions, it takes a little bit more effort for the removal process during the correction.
And is that going to be throughout the entire process? Like, you know, I grew up a kid of the 80s, you know, the wax on, wax off, you know, circular motions.
I don't do that at all. Sometimes you'll catch me in the videos when I'm not thinking about it, going back to that, because that's how I started too. And it's second nature if you're not thinking about it. So sometimes if I'm filming or recording and I'm not thinking about it, I go back to that sometimes, but I straighten out again when I think about it and see what I'm doing. And you want to get down to the lower part of the panel and then finish up with that mitt.
Okay.
And then move on. What I'm going to do now is rinse because I don't want the soap to start to dry. So what you want to do is keep that wash mitt that I just used from going back into the bucket, and that keeps the grit out. Alright, now this one here, at the front of the car. Now normally, in the summertime, if you have a ton of bug guts, I'm going to stop and just lay this one.
Look at
Yeah.
That's filthy.
And you probably picked up down around the bottom. So I'm going to stop because bug guts and whatever you pick up at the bottom of the car there, I don't want to put that back in the bucket, and I don't want to use that on the rest of the car, so that's done. We'll put that to the side. So I have another one back here for the rear of the car, and you got to think of all the stuff that flies back here and collects in the back of your car, especially after it rains. So we only want one mitt for back here as well, because it's going to pick up a lot of gunk and contaminants. So I just flip it there.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not as bright as it was before. So we'll put that to the side, but I have one more for the passenger side. Okay, so the contact wash portion of that is finished. That was the first time you saw that. So
yeah,
I don't know if you have
great.
anything, you know, what are your thoughts on that? I can't even take credit for that. I had a part-timer that saw that on, I never watched YouTube. I really didn't. I never got into YouTube until a little bit before I started the channel, but I had a part-timer that was watching. And it might have been the Gary Dean method. I can't take credit for that, but I use it because it just makes so much sense.
And it's so simple.
It's so simple, and you're done.
Right, and I would imagine that those microfiber sponges / mitts, they don't cost that much. So I mean, it is a very cost-effective way of doing that exact thing, washing your car without cross-contaminating.
Yeah, and we have them laying all over the place. I have some in that canister right there. They're very inexpensive. Just pick a whole bunch of them up and have ready. You know, I can downgrade what's in that bucket, which I just use for my cars and some of the high-end cars, and then downgrade them to the cars that come in that are looking for a correction and haven't been used in the time. Those get the older mitts because we don't have to be all that careful on a car we're going to correct anyways. We do want to cut down on adding more damage to it.
Sure.
So now when we get to the next portion, now we're talking true decontamination. We're getting bonded contaminants off. And that's where we get into clay bar, and there's 3 different types of clay. There's a mild, there's a medium, and there's also a very aggressive kind. And just about every, you know, detailing company, you can get a hold of those anywhere. You can get them on Amazon. And then a fourth kind that really isn't mentioned often is a plumber's putty.
Oh, really?
Where it has this same consistency. And I don't know what the hell they use it for, but it has that consistency, but no abrasives whatsoever. And that I will use on a car that has been coated.
Okay.
And normally, if there's any chance that there's a bonded contaminant on the bottom of the cars where that'll happen, I will break that loose with a plumber's putty, and it will not abrade the paint if you do it carefully.
So going back to again your process, the Brian process. How do you, like, when you're looking at the car or when you're feeling the car, how do you know which grade of clay you want to use? I mean, I know that you don't want to go too aggressive if you don't have to.
Right. 2 things will factor into that. I'll normally ask how well is the car maintained. If it's not maintained regularly and often, I'll go for something aggressive because I know there's going to be a lot of traffic film on there. Okay. And these are not only great for removing bonded contaminants that you can feel, but also contaminants that you can't feel, like traffic film. You know, it'll help remove that. So it's like a 2-in-1. So if it's something that hasn't been detailed in quite some time, I may go with something medium on out here if it hasn't been washed in a long time. But if it's something that is well maintained, I'll go for a medium. And I'll, again, only use any of these where I feel that it's needed. If I don't feel anything, I'm not going to clay the car.
Sure. When we go into a lot of like dealerships, you encounter so many different detailers and the way they detail and the types of details that they do. I have seen clay sponges, where basically it's a sponge with a clay surface on it. I've seen clay mitts. I've seen the new nano clay towels, and as far as even there's a clay disc that goes on a wheel. Nanoskin
has their system, the auto scrub system. Now that's that can get expensive. You're talking
Well, it
about.
also seems dangerous to me. I don't mean dangerous in like dangerous, but I mean dangerous in like it could get away from you really quickly if you're not hands-on.
We stay away from it here because if I'm training somebody new, you tend, when you have a tool like that, to want to use it on the whole car. Where we only use it where it's necessary. I see a lot of videos where they're claying the whole car from top to bottom, absolutely everywhere. If you want, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's no wrong answer. If you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead. You're just creating more work for yourself where it's not needed.
Okay.
We only do it where we feel it, where it's needed. And if you have the auto scrub system, not only because of the cost, but you could just get into it and start doing the whole car that way. You just spray it with their lube, and then put it on a DA with a smaller throw, like an 8mm throw, and then go at it. But it doesn't take very long for those types of mitts or discs to wear down or get old. And the older they get, more worn down they get, it seems to me they get more abrasive, and that's where you can get into trouble.
Okay, that makes sense.